Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be walking around this 1996 Buick Regal sedan named Green Bean. And I'm going to just talk about the third generation Buick Regals as a whole. And those would be from years 1988 to 1996. And, you know, they're just pretty underrated cars for what they are. Nobody really knows about them or decides to talk about them. I haven't seen too many in my lifetime that still run around and do things. This one is in the paint color medium sea green is what they called it. And up front, we're running 205 75 R15s. And on the back, we have 205 70 R15s. So they're about the size of a tire you'd find on an S10 pickup truck. And you can't really find cars nowadays that have 15-inch rims or tires. They're all big rubber bands for some reason. So it's obviously a classic car at this point. It obviously has some body issues. The paint hasn't stood the test of time too well. So it's powered by a V6, which we'll get to in a little bit. It does the job it's supposed to. It'll probably need a rebuild at some point in the future. This car in particular has 218,000 miles on it at the time of recording this. And so it just keeps climbing up in miles. Some rocker panel damage down there, rust eaten through rear fender. He's obviously seen better days, but say he's here right now and he's still working, so we won't worry too much until time comes. If you look for parts for these, well, not all parts, but door handles and stuff like that, they're pretty hard to find. Nobody makes parts for a 96 Buick Regal that I can really find. Can't find headlights, grill, like it's all obscure now. Nobody really remembers these cars, but say they're real nice. And we'll go ahead and get into the motor. Under the hood, this one has the 3100 V6. As you can see, it's also seen better days. But you can tell it's worked all its life and isn't used by, a show car by any means. But say it still runs good for what it is. It obviously needs a rebuild at some point, being a 27-year-old motor, and I have absolutely no clue whether over those 27 years anybody has gone through a rebuild for it. So at some point it'll need it, but for now it works. We're not going to complain too much. Have your horns. You could get these cars with one of the 3800 V6 options if you wanted. I haven't seen too many. Like, I've looked on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, to see how many of these are really out there. And nobody really specifies much whether or not it comes with the 3800 or not, but most of the time when looking, I can't really find many with a 3800. So that's something to note if you're interested in trying to get one of these. The grill up here, I kind of messed it up. I was playing dumb and spray painted it to try and make it look better. That's my mistake, obviously. But say it moves this car. It is front wheel drive. There's not really much to talk about up here. Just your run-of-the-mill V6. They did come out with supercharged versions of the 3800. If you wanted one of these supercharged, yeah, that's about it for under the hood here. Another thing about these cars is that, at least from what I've seen, this year of Buick Regal was made in Canada. So this one found its way down into the States at some point in its life and has been here since. So obviously seen a lot in its 27 years of life. But for a car made in Canada, I have noticed that they're pretty patriotic, because in 1988, Buick entered an 88 Buick Regal into NASCAR with a V6. If I can find a pretty good video detailing that vehicle, I'll link it down below. And for the 1996 year, they also had the Olympic edition Buick Regal. It had gold rims. I don't know if they're real gold or just painted that way, but gold rims. And then they had special badging that had the Olympics logo, the 4 rings, all that. So pretty interesting. I'll link one of those videos down there if I can find one too. So yeah, it's runs, drives, goes from A to B. This car has never left any of us on the side of the road. We ended up actually getting this car due to an accident over about a decade or so ago, I think. But we used to own a 1993 Buick LeSabre for the longest time, and it used to be our family car. It had red interior, red seats. I don't know if you call them velvet, but it was red. Had the mimic wood. It was real nice. But one day it got totaled in a rear end collision, so we had to look for another car, and Green Bean popped up and we went with it. And since then, he's never let us down. I can't recall a time that we were stranded on the side of the road in the green car. It just didn't happen. So he did his job. He's done his job very well. And someday I'd like to, hopefully, be able to restore him, put a few of my own touches on it. But he deserves it after almost going on 28 years of life now. So he kind of deserves a break and a remodel. So I don't really think I know what else really to talk about as of now about the green car. They're just really nice cars. I think more people should get to know about them. Give them a try. You know, if you're looking for a cheap car, you live in the city or something, one of these might do it for you. As I've stated, I've looked on Facebook Marketplace and found a few. Just be warned, it's not easy at all to find parts for these cars if you're missing a grill or a headlight. They just don't make them anymore. They just forgot about this car, which is pretty sad, because it's, like I say, as I've stated many times, it's a really nice car and it deserves a little more love. So I think that's about it. That's all I really wanted to share about green being here. So wherever you're at in the world, God bless you. May He watch over you and protect you. And thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hi. Welcome to this video. Now, this video is very special today because it's someone's birthday. His birthday. It's been 28 years since this car was born. And as you can see, he moves. He does very well. And he's a great daily driver wherever I go. So, what am I going to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about the story of Green Bean and what he means to me. Because we never had Green Bean brand new. We didn't buy him from a dealership in the 90s. My parents haven't had him before I was born or anything like that. We got a hold of Green Bean after an accident involving our other Buick, which was a white 1993 Buick LeSabre. We had a rear end collision with another vehicle, and we had to give up the LeSabre to a junkyard and find another vehicle. And that's where Green Bean came in. He looked about the same as he does right now when we first got him. He wasn't in great shape. His paint was bad, all of that. His doors still worked. They don't anymore. But he was a little better off when we first got him. Over time, he lost one hubcap. Bondo fell off. More paint began to chip away. His clear coat disappeared, all that. Door handles on the outside failed, every single one of them. So, he is a jalopy. And I will not stray away from that fact. This car is not the best car in the world. But it's still very valuable to me, because this car has been through a lot in the span of 10 years, I'd like to say. 10 years this car has been in our family, and I cannot recall a single time this car has let us down. We've never been stranded on the side of the road. There's been no major problems that left us in another town where we had to get help or get a tow truck. Nothing like that. This car always got us home, has continued to get me home wherever I go. I've had my troubles with it. I worry about it sometimes, but every time something happens, it's always start back up and make it home the rest of the way. This car has misfired on multiple cylinders, some above 1,000 times. It either has a lifter or injector tick, has a coolant leak, and the muffler's been ripped off 2 times due to bad road conditions. But every single time this car continues to move right along without a care. Every now and then when I go to start it, sometimes it splutters and dies, but then you try once again and it fires right up. This car, at the time of recording this, has over 220,000 miles on it. And I don't know for sure whether or not the V6 under the hood has been rebuilt once. And that's saying something. 220,000 miles without a complete overhaul, without an engine rebuild, without anything. Just your usual stuff, your oil changes, your spark plug and wire changes, all that, tires, shocks, all this and that, all the essential stuff, and it keeps on moving. And it's been 28 years that this car has done that. That is amazing. Some cars today can't even make it 5 years without having a major problem that calls them back to a shop or the place that built them to begin with, so that they can be repaired and thrown back out on the road for another 5 years until something else majorly breaks. But this green car behind me just doesn't. 28 years. Before I had my driver's license, and before I was daily driving this car, my father was using this car. He worked on other people's cars, and he had tools in the back seat, in the bed, weighing down the rear end to where it squatted a little bit. This car has been on countless dirt roads of varying conditions, washboarded, this, that, snow, mud, rain, all of it. And it keeps on getting through it. Not many cars are really built for that. And yes, obviously, this Buick was not built for running dirt roads, but it was built tougher. And that's what helps it do that. Now, people have often made fun of this car. I've had it happen in real life. I've had it happen in comments. People have said it right in front of me. But that doesn't matter. I don't care if you find this car funny, if you think it looks atrocious. I don't care, because that's not what it means to me. Sure, cars can look nice with a good paint job and chrome and all sorts of other things. But not every car is made to look pretty and receive attention and pictures. Other vehicles are made to work, and that's their whole life. And that's what this car has done. It has worked and worked and worked for this family without fail. Little minor inconveniences here and there, but it has continued to work for 10 years for us. Other people think that Buicks can't be cool because they're grandpa cars. Grandpas are pretty cool. They served in World War II, World War I, Vietnam, Korea. They saved this country multiple times in the past. There's some grandpas out there that love their grandchildren and would do anything to protect those said grandchildren. And maybe that's why they buy cars like this. Because they're tough and they're safe. And grandpas don't need a big, fast car all the time to be cool. They don't need a big hot rod with a big blower. They might have one. That's cool. But they probably use it on leisurely drives in the summer or on the weekends. But when it comes to family and getting them from one place to the other, it's where one of these comes in handy. Comfortable interior. You got what you need. You got a reliable motor under the hood. So, perfect. Not every car is made to be fast either. I don't know what it is with kids today and thinking that cars can only be cool because they're fast. Because it's a race car that makes it cool. Or because it's famous, because it's been in a lot of media, the movies, the television shows, books, all sorts of other things. Yeah, they can be cool. But that's not the only reason they're cool. Every car has a story behind it. Even the most dull and mundane of cars have some great stories behind them. You don't know. You weren't there when it went through all that stuff, unless you've owned it from day one. But then you would obviously know. A vehicle can tell a great story just through existing. Green bean, got rust in some of the panels. There's dirt all over this car. The interior is worn out. Things don't work like they used to. All this, that. That's a great story. This car has been well used and well loved. Some people out there say to be loved is to be changed. But do most people actually believe that, or do they just say that? Because when it comes to cars, it seems like most people just say that. Because, oh, my car is so much faster than yours. My car has a better paint job than yours. Yeah, your car is changed a lot. Might not have been as fast as before. It might not have been as shiny and as nice looking as before. You loved that car. You changed it. Time can do the same. And some people don't have the time nor the money to do what you just did in terms of performance and paint. They only have time to put the necessary components into a car so that they can get back and forth to work, so that they can make more money for their families, or to keep that car running, to keep the house lights on, to keep the house going, to keep the family together and safe in a nice house with food and good, reliable transportation. And that's exactly what this car has done for this family. 28 years. 10 years of that spent with us, and it's done great things for this family. Say my dad used it to get back and forth from work, in and out of town, saved a little money instead of using his pickup. I take my brother to school with this. I get back and forth from town, back home, every single time. it's not all about looks and about the speed. It is about character, personality, heart, all of which is in this car. This car is 28 years old, which makes it a classic where I'm from. And you can tell just by looking at it that this car is classic, because it's not built like other cars today that look like mouse pads with LED lights attached to the front. Every other car that you see nowadays is boring, doesn't have great color options, anything. It's all boring because we've made them boring. Cars evolve just like everything else, but at this point, they haven't evolved into anything good. But older cars, you can look at the front of an older car and kind of see a face looking back at you. Volkswagen Beetles, all that. So, what else? Cobras, Shelby Cobras will look back at you. Camaros can look at you. All these old vehicles, they will look at you, and you can look back, and that car has a face. It's like its own person, but it's not alive. But it has character and heart. That's exactly what this car has. Grill looks like a nose. Headlights look like somewhat narrow eyes. Bottom of the bumper kind of looks like a mouth. Say this has been 28 good years on this car. And I love this car. It's not my only car, and it will never be just my only car. But this car still has value and has brought me joy. I love driving. It brings me a sense of happiness. And this car brings me a sense of happiness while driving. And one day, I'd like to fix this car up, which is going to be hard because you can't buy new body panels for a 1996 Buick Regal. Heck, if we still had the LeSabre, there was no way of getting body panels for it either. These cars are forgotten. They were built to serve their purpose, and Buick and General Motors thought, it's been 10 years or maybe even 5, who's going to care anymore? There's still people kicking around with these things, and they just don't quit. You take care of it, it'll take care of you, and it'll do great. So, I like to get it repainted, maybe obviously get body work done on it, rebuild the motor. And even if I can't find any way to get body work or anything done on this car, I will just yank the motor out of this if I have to and find a way to transfer it to another vehicle so that this car will live on somehow, so that future generations of my family, of people out on the street, can just look and enjoy it. Because you don't see vehicles like this anymore. So it's very special when one does appear out of nowhere. You could be driving through the city, through a town, you could be sitting in a parking lot, and you could see an old car. Doesn't matter who you are, if you care about cars or not, you're going to look at it. Whether it be the color, the shape, because you know what car it is, it doesn't matter. You're going to look at it because it's old and it's nothing you've ever seen. And every time I park this car anywhere, a store or anything like that, that is the one car that I can look at amongst all the other cars and be like, yeah, this car is different. All the other cars have that same shape to them, same headlight structure, everything. Everything's got to be sleek. Everything's got to be compact. Everything's got to be boxy. There's a lot of things that they do nowadays that are just boring, and they only do it to make a profit. They don't care. They don't care about the history. They only care about turning a profit, and if that car breaks, then they're going to have to come back to us, and we're going to make more money. It doesn't matter. But back when this car was made, they actually worried about the product and how the customer would see it. Are we making a good product, or do we want to be labeled a lemon? And in 1996, Buick did not make a lemon. They made the world's greatest jalopy. And I am very proud to sit here and own said jalopy. So, with that out of the way, I thank you for watching this video. It's very different from all the other videos I've made, but I felt something special needed to be done to celebrate our friend here and all 28 years of his life. So, thank you for being here and watching. I'll see you in the next video. May God bless you and your loved ones, and may you stay safe.